inside of every one of us, inside anything of life, awaits deep down in its core, the very thing that is awaiting to shine, that is waiting to explode. Each and every one of us carry with themselves a specific image of themselves, and part and parcel of that image was handed over by your grandmother or your grandfather down to your mothers and fathers. And you're going to see in the next lesson how it has affected you all this while, and what is the best way to move forward from that image to create a new image. I wasn't born like this, putting on suits, dressed all nice and looking clean. Nah, it wasn't like that from the beginning. But I worked on myself. This next lesson is going to give you the necessary information, which is so exciting. I'm so excited with you, man, because this information, you can't find it in school. It can only be found in Success Elementary. And this journey is an exciting journey. Thank you for tuning in. I'm hopeful that by end of this lesson, you have a different take altogether about your image. Cheers. Today we are going to dive deep. You see, we have started off from the surface ever since the beginning of this series, and it keeps getting deeper. We are exploring more information about ourselves and how we function, and what we are trying to do to elevate ourselves. So this is pure education, which I will keep on reminding you this because I never got this type of education from school. I had to start studying different books than educational books for me to get this type of information. I had to follow mentors. I had to follow seminars. I had to do quite a lot just to keep up, just to develop myself, writing new programs. To this very day, I wake up every day, I read a chapter, I read a paragraph or two, I exercise, I do my mirror work. At the end of the day, I keep my goal in my face because it is clearly written down. It's a financial goal, it's a personal development goal. Whatever type of goal, every goal of mine is a written down goal. As we explained in the previous lesson, that the first step of transforming your goal from it being a fantasy to something that you can touch and see with your senses is you first of all need to write it down. So before we go into deep and explore more on the self-image, the pictures that you hold in your head, let's do a quick recap, and then we'll link it up with everything else that we have studied and explained so far in Success Elementary, and see how best we can move forward with more information and with more tricks. And yeah, it's gonna be fun. So where we started off was on identity. By identity, we explored who are you. Remember, we said basic problems of people not being able to make decisions, of people not being able to earn enough money is a result of their identity. They don't really know, or they are not even sure of who they are. Go back to the lesson on your identity, on who you are, and you get an in-depth of how we dissected that. But at the end of the day, we agreed that we are spiritual beings, we've got an intellect, and we live in a physical body. For the most part of my life, I can tell you for sure, 30 years, in my mind I thought I was a physical being. I was identifying myself with my name. I was identifying myself with my totem. I'm a Moyondizo, Moyoshirandu, whatever, whoever came up with totems. That's what I used to identify myself as. I used to identify myself with my job. I was an accountant. I once worked in a bank. I was a banker. So I walked around looking, feeling like a banker. My thoughts were those thoughts of a banker. My thoughts were those thoughts of a business person, someone who's employed. Later on in life, I graduated. I started identifying myself with a car. I used to drive a Golf 4. You know those small buggies, those small vehicles. a blue Go 4. So I used to be like, I'm a Go 4 driver. Little did I know that all those identities were the ones that were keeping me where I was. Fine, I had so many ideas I was trying to create, but it's that programming that was embedded in myself, and it's that type of thinking that kept me thinking that, no, I'm a banker, I'm a ghetto boy, now that I've grown, I'm a father and all that. So that was the major problem, identifying yourself with your physical, with your senses, with your body. I'm a male. We later on discovered that, for starters, we are spirit. We are spiritual beings. Spirit, mind you, we said it's for expansion and more complete expression. That's what spirit is for. And that's what that's what you are. That's your true essence. No wonder you feel frustrated when you're not growing. Because the spirit inside of you wants to expand, wants to grow, wants better. But your identity and your old programming is keeping you at bay. So it raises so much frustration inside of yourself, inside of your life. How come my relationship is not growing? How come my pocket is even shrinking? How come each and everything that I try to touch seems to work out, but then all of a sudden everything falls apart and you lose everything? And you're wondering, what's really going on here? You've got to get to the grips of understanding who you are. You are a spiritual being. For starters, first and foremost, you are a spiritual being. You live in a physical body. So you are a spirit having a human experience. Having a human experience, you've got tools that you need to use, which are your 6 mental faculties, which we said was memory, reason, perception, imagination, will, and intuition. These are the tools that we are God-given, that we are supposed to use to navigate this life in creating more. Spirit is for expansion and more complete expression. This is, you've got your creative ability. By use of these 6 mental faculties, you can create almost anything. By anything, I mean anything. You can create almost anything that comes to your mind. You can fabricate anything that comes to your mind. You can formulate anything from nothing, from spirit to physical. It's that journey that I didn't have clarity on. And so I kept on digging, I kept on searching. What does it really mean to be a spiritual being? We started off and talked of a lesson on goal setting. That's when I learned the importance of setting goals for yourself. But I later on learned that it's an art. You just don't wake up the next morning being in a position to set bigger or better goals for yourself. You start off where you are, with what you have. Formulate a dream, a fantasy. That's the first stage of formulating a goal, is you dream, you fantasize. Then you form your own theory. Because now you're in control. You're no longer being controlled by your body. You're no longer being controlled by your circumstances. You're no longer being controlled by your environment. You're now in the driver's seat. You theorize your goal. How am I going to get to that place, to that special place? How am I going to attain that? You theorize. It's your own theory now. You're in control. Nobody stops you. It's a journey. You are the main actor now. After theorizing it, you ask yourself these 2 questions. Am I willing? And am I able? You've got these God-given abilities. Your memory, your reason, your perception, your imagination, your will, and your intuition. Yes, you are able. But on willingness now comes the biggest question. Are you prepared to stick your life to your goal? Are you prepared to face every bit of any so-called challenges that may come your way and succumb them. And go past them with confidence. Once you answer these two questions, your dream, your theory becomes now the goal that you're now looking at. This becomes the place which you have created for yourself in your own mind. And Success Elementary is now teaching you how to move from here till you attain your goal. It's giving you the information that you need to know, the different challenges that you're going to encounter. But in so doing, you've got to understand deep inside of yourself, how do I function? Now that you've got a goal, which is the most important part of personal development, you need to grow, you need to develop, you need to know exactly where you're going. You need to know the exact figures that you want. If it's weight that you need to shed, you need to know at what, how many kgs do I need in what particular time? Specifics. If I ask any person walking around, how much money do you want? Everyone says they want more. But how much is more? Because if you pick up 10 cents from here, if you had $1, now you had $1 10 cents, that's more. Be specific. Give the universe the specifics. Because it's waiting for you to just zone in and decide, making a decision on what you want and be willing to focus. Your ability to focus on it. So with that, later on, looked at the mind. For you to be able to change results, you're going to need to know what is going on in the first place. And so we came down to the picture of the mind given to us by Dr. Thurman Fleet. Remember that? Big circle at the top, small circle at the bottom. Join the two circles. Give it arms, give it legs. The top circle, which is the mind, you divide it into two. This is where your senses are resident. What you see, hear, smell, taste, and touch. It comes through your conscious mind. And this one is your subconscious. Conscious, subconscious. We describe the characteristics of the conscious mind. It generates information. It's got the ability to accept and reject. It formulates ideas. But the subconscious doesn't have the ability to reject. It accepts everything. And this is where all your programming is resident. Everything that you have been taught as you grew up, as you inherited from your parents, your habits, they reside in your subconscious mind. And in turn, because that's the part that is connected to your body, the bottom circle is your body. And these programs control your behavior, right? And your actions. And in turn, controls your results. Go on this lesson on the mind. And go over it over and over and over and over and over again. And get a grip of understanding of what we mean by the mind. This is just a diagram which was discovered to simplify how we navigate the spiritual world, the dream world. Spirit is in every cell of every living organism. Mind is in every cell of every living organism. It permeates time and space. It's the all-knowing. What we're mentioning here is not something that is tangible, but it's just a picture for you to operate with, because your mind operates in pictures. So we later on discussed about why do people do as they do, but they don't do as they know how to do. We talked of the knowing, doing, gap. You got the information through your senses. It's either you're going to read or you're going to hear it. It is locked up in your conscious mind. But what is it that causes you to act the way you act? That makes you behave the way you behave? It's not hidden in your conscious mind. It's hidden in your subconscious mind. So after you determine your goal, only when you know exactly where you want to go, is when you can do a self-introspective exercise of going into deep to analyze what are those habits that can serve me to take me towards my goal. What are those habits that I have already that will take me towards my dreamland? What are those characteristics or habits that I need to then acquire to take me towards my definite end? You need to make a decision on that and to see what are those things that you want. What are those two apart from your 6 mental faculties? You're going to have to use your 6 mental faculties to formulate new habits. Formulate new habits. And it's only when you formulate new habits that you start acting differently that your actions bring in new results. It's not by mere luck or chance. It's a system of how you go about it. So you formulate a new program. You make sure that you use your 6 mental faculties to have that picture clearly stated in your mind. Clearly. That picture has got to be clear, indelibly clear, always, wherever you're going to walk, whatever you're going to talk, however you're going to dress, you're going to have to act the part that you desire. Don't forget that you don't attract anything that you don't first become. You are going to have to become that thing first before you attract that thing. So you want a boyfriend, you want a man, you want a husband. What is it that you truly want? If you want a husband, be the characteristics that you want in someone else first before you attract that guy into your life. It works like magic. It's like a secret, but it's not. It's all over you. You want love? First love yourself. How are you dressed? How are you taking care of yourself? How are you taking care of your surroundings? You become that first. Then the guy who's the same way as you are is going to appear in your life, and then it's a match made in heaven. You are there. From the knowing-doing gap, we then later on went on to how then do you plant new programs in your mind? We talked of the self-confidence formula, which gave us the 5 steps. Go back on the previous lesson that we did before this one. It talks of the self-confidence formula. The 5 steps that you need to do. Be clear of where you want to go. Formulate a goal. Put it on paper. Write it down. Recite that goal every morning, every evening. That's how you build your faith. When the greatest prophet of all times, Jesus Christ, was going around preaching to people, he talked of faith based on understanding. This is the understanding that you are missing all this while. And you need to pay very close attention so that you understand some of these things. You might be behind that and think maybe he's bluffing. Or maybe he doesn't know exactly what he's talking about. But I told you that you've got the power to change your perception. Think for a second, what if I'm right? What if I'm right? Is the information that is giving me today has the potential of changing my life? It's up to you to take this information, absorb it, let it hit your subconscious mind, and let it move you into action. So today, we are going to look into the biggest paradigms of all that we need to address. That paradigm is on the self-image, right? You've got an image that you already carry in your mind of yourself. I will explain the story of how it came about and the science that has been diagnosed behind that theory of your personal self-image. So today this lesson is all about the self-image. Remember, this is our stickman. Pardon me, I'm using a different color now. Remember, we spoke of the most important programs are the programs that are held in your subconscious mind. And part of the programming that you have, that you carry yourself with every day, that determines every action, every word you say, has everything to do with your self-image. How did the self-image thing came to be a matter of concern? And people discovered that changing their self-image resulted in them changing their actions, hence changing their behavior, and then changing their results. There was a doctor. He was a medical surgeon. Dr. Maxwell Maltz. He discovered something. He was performing face plastic surgeries, facial plastic surgery. So someone would come to Dr. Maxwell Maltz, right? He would come and say, Dr. Maxwell Maltz, can you fix my nose? It's a little bit long, I need it short. What the doctor would do is, you would take a route, get him under anesthetics, and change the guy's appearance. But he discovered something. That in as much as some of his patients had a change of attitude, a change of spirits, a change in the way they walk, just because they had a facial nose bump removed, it didn't happen with everyone that he was operating. Some people, after a very successful operation, they will still remain the same, which led him to believe that people in their own heads hold two images. So this is the first image that someone comes to the doctor with. After a surgery, they might change their self-image and see themselves in a different way. But some people, even after a successful operation, they might remain being the same people in their minds. They retain the same image that they walked into the doctor's office with. They even take it up with them even after a successful facial operation or a body augmentation procedure. That led him to believe that we literally, everyone walks around with two images. The one image is your outside image, and the other image is your inside image. The one image that is buried in your subconscious mind. It is that image that controls everything that a person is going to do after that. So if you change the image in your subconscious mind, which is one of the biggest paradigms, one of the biggest programmings, that image was formulated, it was handed over to you at birth, and it formulated over time of how you see yourself in your mind. I'll give you a typical example of what happens when people go to try to lose weight. They try to lose weight, but a successful weight loss can only happen when the image that you had, that fat image that you had in your head, weight loss. Someone starts a weight loss program, but the image that they have in their head is someone of a very fat guy. So no matter how much they are going to exercise, as long as they keep holding the image of a fat guy, they are going to, this controls what they are going to do. They are still going to have to find cakes, sugars, etc. Everything that makes them fat. So in as much as they exercise, as soon as you place a cake in front of them, they don't think twice about it. They are ready to dig in, and they want more, and they want another slice. They're eating pizza, they're eating French fries, all that junk stuff. They don't back down on those. So in as much as they're exercising with the objective or goal of losing weight, because they haven't changed their self-image, the way it is going to pile up back, because it's the old programming that is still in control. So this image needs to be. After Dr. Maxwell Maltz discovered that basically we've got two images. The one is the self-image that we hold of ourselves, of our physical body. The other image is the one that we hold in our heads. He developed and wrote a book called Psycho-Cybernetics. What is Psycho-Cybernetics? This is the lesson for today. And we're going to finish up the lesson with showing you exactly what Dr. Maxwell Maltz came to a conclusion and how you can successfully change your self-image. Psycho-Cybernetics is the science of control and communication in some machines and animals. What does this mean? I'll give you an example of what happens with a room with a thermostat. A thermostat is one example of a cybernetic mechanism. What it does is you set it to a certain degrees. You set your room that I want my room to be 26 degrees Celsius. What the thermometer does is, as soon as someone opens the door and the temperature decreases to 24, it triggers the heaters. At this very point, the heaters are turned on and temperature rises back up until it comes back to 26 degrees Celsius. As soon as temperature reaches 26 degrees Celsius, the thermometer cuts off the heaters and the temperature is maintained like that. As soon as the temperature drops, as soon as the temperature increases to say 28 degrees Celsius, what does the thermometer do? It starts the cooling fans. The cooling fans are started and the temperature drops till it's maintained at 26. It has been programmed. The thermometer has been programmed to maintain the room at a particular temperature. As soon as the temperature goes below the programmed normal, fans are turned up, heaters are turned up. As soon as the temperature goes above the set program, the fans are turned on and the temperature decreases. That's one example of a cybernetic mechanism that I can give that is close to you. That's the same thing that is happening with your self-image, the self-image that you're carrying in today. As soon as you go out there trying to chase your goals without changing your self-image, guess what is going to happen? Everything inside of you is going to make sure that self-image of you, that poor boy from the villages, that sickly guy whom you have been for the past 2-3 years, is going to try to block everything so that it retains control over you. That's an example of a psycho-cybernetic mechanism that is happening with you and your self-image. So, in conclusion, how do you change your self-image? We talked of the self-confidence formula, how you build your faith. You have to create the image of who you want to be. How do you create the image of someone whom you want to be? You emulate. You take different characteristics. You're allowed to look into your environment and see the people who are doing better than you. The biggest mistake is that when you see someone being successful, you are quick to judge. You are quick to hate. You are quick to pass judgment. And the most important thing that you have to know is you have to know that your programming, your old self, is causing you to do that. Instead of you being inspired to say, when I grow up, I want to drive a car like that. When I stand on stage, I want to be such and such a speaker. I want to be as good as a speaker as someone else, as TD Jakes. You are allowed. You build that picture for you. This is your new image. Your new focus. You repeat it. Print it out. I was taught a technique. When you want something, you have to print the picture of that thing that you want. When you want yourself, we're living in an age of technology. You can Photoshop your new self and place that new self in front of a bed, in your mirror, or in your ceiling somewhere, which you can see every day. You continue to see that on a daily basis. The trick is to become that person first inside, before you start attracting the different means and ways in which you can achieve or you can upgrade yourself to become that person. So you repeat. Again, repetition is the key to learning a new habit. You walk, you talk like the person you have always wanted to become. It's called the actor's technique. This is what you are going to be applying here. Stella Adler taught acting. He's got a beautiful book, The Art of Acting. You can find that book and you can read it through and see how you can import someone's character. You see how these actors will be doing their job. They take a script, they read the script over and over and over and over, embody the character of the script, and they go in front of the camera and they start acting. You believe it when they're delivering the character because they've read it over and over again. So the actor's technique is what you're going to have to be here. It's not fake it till you make it. That's not exactly what you're doing. You are changing yourself to become that person first inside. So you're not faking it. You are becoming that. And before you know it, boom, you are that. So this is the self-image formula. There's a cybernetic mechanism that is going on inside of you that you need to be very much aware of. If you don't change your self-image, your image, that same image is going to control everything around you, including money, including relationships, including your health, including your happiness. Do you have the image of a happy someone? Do you have the image of a free giver? Do you have the image of a prosperous giver? Is it right there in your head? If you don't have it, you're writing a new image, you're creating a new image of yourself. You have to be committed to create that new image so that it takes control, just like the old image. It takes control, it goes into your subconscious part of the mind and it starts controlling your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions at the end of the day. It controls your whole attitude has got to change. You want people to be nice at you. First of all, become nice to them. Be that person you aspire for some people to be. Be nice. Be kind to one another. Kindness starts with you. They say order is heaven's first law. Do you have order? If you so much enjoy order, start with yourself. Wake up in the morning. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to put on new clothes. Just make sure they're clean, man. Just make sure you've bathed. You might not need a cologne, but just bath. Take a shower. Be the person that you have always wanted to be. Picture that. Every day, see yourself as that. Walk, talk like that person that you want to be. You have got that liberty to use your imaginative faculty to build that picture, that creative imagination. Build that picture and surrender to the signals that are going to be coming from the entire universe to aid you and push you to becoming the person that you've always wanted to be. Because don't forget that there is a law in operation, which we said is the law of creation. It starts off in the spirit and it goes down all the way down to the physical. So you want to manifest something, you don't have to fight for anything in the physical. You have to see it in spirit. The one who spends the most hours seeing that picture is the first one to get it. Because it's all operating by law. So that's the lesson that I had to deliver today about your self-image. You need to change your self-image. You need to start working on your self-image. Know exactly what you want to become and focus. You've got the abilities. You've got the capacity to do that. The ability to focus and the ability to keep that picture at the screen of your mind. Each and every day, wherever you go, whatever you do, however you walk, however you talk. Till we meet in the next lesson, in Success Elementary, cheers, man. Go and work on your self-image and become someone better. Aspire to become someone better. Don't envy people who've got some things that you do not have. I was given a good tip that the person who has something that you do not have knows something that you do not know. So pay attention. Be a good guy. Go out there, be an inspiration to a lot of kids. Be an inspiration to a lot of people. And be the best version of yourself. You're a spiritual being. Cheers, boss. As you found out in the previous lesson that we just came out, that everything lies in your image. There's that picture that you're going to have to work on. And there's that thermostat buried deep in your psyche that has been controlling everything, which needs changing. So I've worked on your mind. You need to start working on your self-image for better results. You've got something special inside of you. Let it shine. Let it out. Express yourself in a more abundant manner. There is nothing wrong in wanting more. It's quite an exciting journey, trust me. I'm excited for you. You should be excited too.